Quite a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, and good evening. We are now outdoor. As you see, it's a quite special background and environment. We are in open space, to be in open life, and I have the pleasure to be with a friend and very special human soul, Avisek Majumdar. Thank you for accepting the invitation to be a part in the project Perennial Values in Education. So we are here in the same team with Bogdan Nicolai and Ionela Kirciu. And also we thanks to Uzina, the Print Creative, which create special for our meeting those beautiful backgrounds. Yes, we are of course live, and if you feel, you may address some questions on the chat, and we will answer. You see, we are the cat already came. Yes, yes. So everything is said, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, this program, it's very open project to bring in the core of the university the cultural diversity in order to connect and to be open towards what to be human in all dimensions means. We are here under the auspices, or under the, I don't know, the grace of the Faculty of Psychology and Educational Sciences. So, dear Avi, you are in a particular position, that one from which you may connect and speak, and put together, let me say, two words, different, and which may seems to be far away. So the yogic culture that you are, I don't know, you are raised, you have a remarkable background and a remarkable evolution in it. So you came in Romania and found Prakriti School of Yoga, and thousands of students benefit from your knowledge, and also you have VIP students. We know everybody can Google you, and then you studied psychology, and you are very well introduced also in analytical psychology. So that's why tonight we will have a dialogue which put together, so as I said, sunrise tradition with the sunset tradition, let's say. And I love very your teachings and the moments with sunset yoga and sunrise yoga. So shall we start from what's mean yoga and what's mean?
Absolutely.
Okay, because everyone can is so misunderstood.
Yeah, that's a very good question. First of all, thank you for having me. Thank you for this opportunity to have this discussion.
It's a joy. Yes.
Discussion with me. I was looking forward to this, and as truth must be told, I was very nervous, and I'm very nervous to talk to one of my professor, one of the person I look forward to when it comes to psychology, Western psychology, and not only that, your depth of knowledge in Eastern psychology is phenomenal. So yes, thank you for having me, and yeah, it would be good to start with an understanding about what do we mean by yoga. Say, in today's world, we can step out of our door and ask any random person, what's yoga? Just say yoga, and they will have an answer. Yoga is familiar to everybody. Now, for some, it is posture, for some it's some breathing exercise, and for some it might be like you sit in a cross-legged position and you contemplate on something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as truth must be told, all these three put together might be about 1/10 of what yoga is. And I would like to admit, and at the very beginning, my master used to tell us, one lifetime is not enough for you to comprehend what yoga is. So, if we look at the vast dimension of yoga, and then try to understand or look at yoga as an ancient toolbox that we can use to work with our body, with our mind, with our psyche, we might find a lot of applicable tools, tricks to enhance the quality of our life. Mm-hmm. Now, going back to, in Sanskrit we say, if you want to understand something, just define and elaborate the meaning of the word. So the yoga is union. Yeah.
Okay.
So now when we say it's union, and maybe in one dimension it is union between the faculty of my head, the faculty of my heart, and the faculty of my hands, which is like all the actions. But then as we continue to contemplate on it, yoga is also about how do I participate within my family, within the society, within the structure of this, the space that we share all together, the universe, the planet. So, trying to build a harmony among all of these aspects will be considered as yoga.
Wow, this is a remarkable definition. So, first of all, we know quasi nothing about yoga. I mean myself and other people. So the first natural attitude is to be open to understood a phenomena that is so old that we cannot imagine. And then you said union. Mm-hmm. Union between different dimension of existence, body, mind, and so on. And this is in fact what psychotherapy must do in order to decrease the distance between our parts, because we are dissociated, we live in a fragmented world. Mm-hmm. So nothing, I see no difference in a way from this very beginning.
Right, and absolutely, we are looking at the same subject from two different languages. So one is Western, the modern psychology, and one is the Eastern psychology. And that's it.
So, okay, please. So, yoga means also to be in harmony with your relational life, meaning home, at work, and so on.
Yeah, first with yourself, the different aspect of yourself, and that can be expanded outward.
Okay. Very difficult to see and to meet persons which are okay with themselves. I don't know. Yeah. Yes, so we hardly need. Please continue with what means yoga for you, and what do you see teaching yoga? It's the most difficult thing to transmit.
Well, I'll start with the second part of the question. I believe yoga cannot be taught, but yoga can be learned. So literally, even though I'm sitting in front of a few students and trying to teach them something, the limitation of the teaching is a technique. But the experience of yoga is self-created within one's inner dimension. So I give you a technique. By the use of the technique, internally you are creating the experience of yoga.
Okay, so you cannot transmit just the tool that can be used to self-create the experience.
Exactly. So if we create, it's just like a when we plant a seed for it to germinate and it to bloom, we create the right kind of environment. If the environment is correct, the seed will germinate, will become a sapling. It can even become to a huge grown tree. So yoga is about that, creating the right condition where an individual can continue to explore their own consciousness and establish eventually into a spiritual consciousness, which is not some kind of a voodoo and subtle thing, but a sense of unity among the different aspects of life. Like, if you look back, even few generations back, our forefathers used to live in the state of harmony. We didn't need to go to them and talk about ecology and to teach them that they need to respect nature. And even though on those years the modern science haven't developed so much, and you pay attention to that if you're listening to the ambient sound, and not be reactive. So even on those days, they didn't have the access to the modern medicine and many other things that the science and technology can offer us today. But they lived a content life. They lived a wholesome life. For majority, they had a better immunity and stamina. And I would say that happened because they were in a close proximity with nature and lived a harmonious life with nature.
Okay, so we are not wearing shoes, yes? So this is a kind of metaphor, maybe, for what you said.
Yeah.
Yes, connected. And can you tell a few about the significance of not wearing shoes?
Okay, let's again push back a bit. We are, and if you go through the Sankhya philosophy, which is one of the 7-8 main philosophies originating in India, the Sankhya talks about the elements, the 5 elements. We are all made of this 5 element: earth, water, fire, air, ether. And in this planet where we are all coexisting, there is literally nothing that has born in the air and migrated towards the earth. We are all growing from bottom up, right? So in the modern society, we have alienated ourselves this contact with the earth. We step out of our home wearing our nice shoes, step into the car takes us to the office or to the wherever we want to. So this touching the earth is symbolically and to a large extent energetically reuniting ourselves with our roots. All my ancestors and your ancestors, they lived on this planet and now they are resting in this earth, in the lap of this earth. The wisdom exists in the earth. So connecting to the earth on a periodic basis, it's like taking your spiritual multivitamin, multimineral. In yoga therapy, one of the things I highly recommend to my students, find time to walk barefoot in your garden. Okay, you don't have a garden, you stay in an apartment in Bucharest or in Timișoara, Cluj or wherever. Walk barefoot in the house from time to time. Yeah? And if you get the luxury to step out of your house and you can place both the feet on the ground, don't just stand, but to go deeper into yourself and relate to this energetic exchange taking place. As truth must be told, even till a few minutes back as we were doing all the setup, I was a bit jittery and I might be still a bit now. So what I was doing here is, okay, let's keep both the feet down. Return.
Okay, so
this is why we keep the bare feet, especially when we are cultivating something spiritual, because we want the nourishment to flow in.
And you said something very important, meaning that we are adapting to the conditions that are real. So you are not a person so centered in yourself that those kind of this environment, which is in fact a public one, we have lights, very suns in our eyes. It's not so comfortable. And then so many things as in television to set, yes? So you are sensitive to all this, and it's natural to be touched and to be agitated in a way, yes? So this is life, real life. And then you said that it's a process, then you realize this to recenter yourself. But I think we have lost this capacity to see that we are disconnected or we are decentered, disturbed, and to take a break or to recenter ourselves, as you said. And then what we are doing here, we are not talking about we are doing. Yes. So this is quite a dimension that we lose to do it, not to speak about it.
Yeah. So there is this thing, lately a lot of people have this notion in their mind. They call themselves, I'm a practitioner of yoga. And then you explore what are they referring to by that. It's basically maybe a few times per week, and some of them are on a daily basis. They step on their yoga mat, they do some sun salutation, they do some breathing technique, they can do some really advanced yoga posture. They step out of the mat, roll the yoga mat, and then they start living their life. Now, if yoga is not blending into your life, or if you're not conscious in making an attempt to blend yoga in
body, and how the body, it's a huge antenna that we sometimes not take in consideration. We are leaving the body here and flying in our cognitive worlds, dissociated. So I think it's again an important topic from down to up.
Yes, it takes a lifetime to really experientially understand the chakras. So a lot of Western interpretations are trying to sell a concept to the mind. It's coming from top down. I believe that my root center or this energy center should have a symbol like with 6 petals or 8 petals or 4 petals. Now I am visualizing X, Y, and Z. It can be a starting point, but then we need to experientially understand what that symbol means. We have to experience the existence of that chakra and the chakra dominant behavior within ourselves in interaction to another concept I would like to bring in here will be the gunas. There are 3 things: sattva, which is, let's say, luminosity, tamas, which is deep darkness, and the rajas in between, which is a transitory, and it is bidirectional. So one can fall back from luminosity to the darkness, and from darkness to the luminosity. And there is a movement here. That's why we say the rajasic person is a dynamic person.
Okay.
It's transiting.
Okay.
Yeah. So the concept of chakras are essentially important for people who are practicing psychology. Even though for the Western psychology, this can be a very handy tool to look at their own patient and to see what might be a dominant behavior in a person, which chakra is active, or highly overactive.
Okay, so let's try, I don't know, for the sake of our flow in dialogue, to to think or to imagine a person trapped in a relation in which she or he considers that it's a victim, and the perpetrator is all around her or him. So this is a relational mark for an introjected main relation. So this kind of person can be imagined as always having a feeling of not being secure, not being understood, not being used, and so on. So if you hear and see a person like this, how can you translate in the terms that you mentioned?
I will blend that talk therapy, if this is happening in a conversation. I will bring that person on the yoga mat or off the yoga mat and start helping him or her to connect with their body. There's a deep rooted, and this might be Muladhara, the root center issue, where the person doesn't feel safe. There's a lack of belongingness within the relationship.
Okay.
And the person can be projecting like, okay, he or she is not safe in the relationship. But there is something taking place within the person that makes you look at the external world very hostile.
So you mentioned in the root in Muladhara something. So that is the symbolic place that something went wrong for that person, or
Yeah, you see, the
not belonging, feeling unsafe.
stability is the concept of Muladhara. Stability can be shaken by malfunctioning of other energy center, or other energy center going through a process of through the different, as I said, sattva, rajas, and tamas. So let's say some energy center might not be that luminous. Yeah, here we can go back to their individual life story. As a child, how hostile the life was, and what stories they picked up that they are reliving right now. Yeah, there can be a lot of transgenerational trauma that might be passed on to them.
So everything, all those problems are condensed
Anything
in the
that
root.
is heavy
Yes.
will slowly precipitate.
Okay.
So if we are looking at considering that the human body is like a huge wall of chorba.
I love your way of.
Yeah, and then anything that is heavy
Yes.
will slowly precipitate. And metaphorically speaking, yoga is about steering that wall with a huge polonik.
Making a spiral movement, so with
Yeah,
with
to
a
steer things
polonic.
up. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Just today, somebody asked me, so is it okay to get triggered in a yoga session?
Okay.
My personal opinion is yes. Yes, after you have developed the trust on your therapist or on your yoga teacher, you go there and you say, okay, I am ready so that you can cut me open. Otherwise, you just...
Now, sorry, you see, we are outdoor and this is live. It is a helicopter coming, which is a rare phenomenon. Okay, so you mentioned about triggers. One of the
triggers, yeah.
Okay, so it is okay to be triggered by some random event.
It is okay to be triggered.
But what you are doing with this trigger, it's important.
Yeah. So, good reminder is that you as an adult might have some tools to deal with the trigger, and sometimes you have to look at the eye of what is triggering you.
Okay, so you mentioned this root center. So what is, I think most of 80% of the population have some problems with the root. 80, I don't know if you
It is.
exaggerate.
We feel disconnected. We are not rooted.
Okay.
And maybe in the last 30, 40, 50 years, this has become a pandemic. We don't realize this, but it is. A person who's born maybe thousands of kilometers away lives in a different place. Look at me. I'm born, raised in India. I left my roots and moved to Romania, and I'm now trying unconsciously to find my roots here. Now, it's not like, yeah, get rooted and it happened. No, it's happening. It's a process.
Yes, indeed.
And every time I feel a little shaky, I feel that I'm not able to penetrate my energy to the earth, and earth is not supporting me. It triggers uncertainty, insecurity, and fear. And this is the story, even if you are migrating maybe 100 kilometers away from your home. So finding that root is essential to feel that you belong within your body. How can I belong in somebody else's life if I don't belong to myself?
To myself, yes.
Okay?
To belong to yourself. How beautifully you put it. So now a question came to my mind. So is it possible for a person with an unbalanced body, being sick, I don't know, a lung problem, for example, whatever, to be efficient as a psychotherapist from the yogic perspective?
Oh, it's a tricky question.
Yes, tricky mind, tricky question.
I think the reply is yes, no, and maybe.
I love it.
In Romania we have this saying, fac ce zice popa, nu ce face popa. So sometimes a therapist might have the cognitive understanding to explain you, please don't do this and that. And that can help you. But if you're the person who is not taking the advice, but you're looking at the advisor,
yes,
then this is a problem, because then you're looking at, somebody's telling me about harmony and health, but when I'm observing the person, I see some imbalance in them. Then it becomes a little discutable how much trust will happen in them.
Okay.
Now, once said that, to find a person who is all the time in the state of harmony and in perfect, that doesn't even exist in our fairy tales. So, no, we will be imbalanced, but we will still carry within us enough wisdom to help who is just walking on my back.
Okay, so being imbalanced, it's a condition, the real condition of life.
Yep.
Being imbalanced. So you cannot find a balanced person in each and every moment of its life.
Most likely.
So we are always trying to find masters, the great masters. We are now, I don't know, looking to, I don't know, Sadhguru, for example. I know you were sitting near him, yes, and so on, and looking to him as if he is from, I don't know, another dimension of realm of world, as if he cannot be imbalanced ever. He's perfect. So this is, I think, not. How do you do?
This is a mental trick. We want to put a person on a higher pedestal and start a mental game, and we wait for them to slip down, so we can say, "Look, I told you." Say, why do we want to do that? Why can't we treat? And I'm not only referring to Sadhguru. I will call that to my guru, to Dalai Lama, to everybody. They're all human beings walking on the planet with a very well-developed consciousness. They might have the tools and the skills to walk on a slippery road with more ease than you and me. That's it. So learn whatever you can learn from them, but preferably to putting fellow human beings on a very higher pedestal might not work for Western mind. This has been the case in the East. See, in the Eastern culture is about surrender. You go to the teacher and you bow down. You don't bow down to touch his feet or just to bend. You bow down so that the blessings and the grace can flow to you with more ease. But here in the West,
to whom we are bowing down? This is the question.
This is more of importance, and then we are constantly telling ourselves, you can be anything you want to be. You are the master of your life. So we have, if I may use this word, that we do have a highly bloated ego in the West where we don't want to let go of the leash.
We are the almighty, macho man. Yes, this is the problem. So you mentioned a remarkable thing. In the East, we as human beings in the East, we are bowing down towards.
There's a concept of surrender.
Here, we are not surrendering.
No.
And this is a problem because it's connected with the lack of grounding, the lack of belonging, and so on.
Lack of belonging. There are also people have taken wrong advantage of people who have surrendered. So that has to be explored as well. There are reasons for people to be a little more fearful about not to just bend down and surrender. But grace can only flow in after we have surrendered.
And then we cannot surrender if, and let's go back again when I mentioned that person feeling, the person that consider that he or she is unsafe and as a victim and so on. So what to surrender to whom? Because it's a perpetrator there. Well, I don't know, I have to be in control and so on.
Correct.
So this means that it's a problem in the roots chakras, in those areas. So in order to surrender, you need to lift a little bit in your how do you see it? So the condition of surrendering.
So certain amount of inner belongingness, that I belong to myself, is essential. To feel safe within oneself, with both one's light and shadow, is essential. And when we do that, we can drop the guard. Otherwise, we are very territorial. If you go in the street, the dogs which are going to bark at you are very aggressive. They are also deep inside highly threatened. They're scared. And again, that connects to the Muladhara chakra, to the root center. So if I feel safe, I will automatically drop my shoulders down. I can relate. Now I'm ready to go maybe one or more step higher, and I can really start communicating. So in a therapeutic setup, if a person is coming very blocked, shaken by the fear, uncertainty, insecurity, and by the way, we all are living in uncertain time, and we have always lived in uncertain time. So we don't know what's going to happen in the next moment. So if we can, instead of telling them, let go, open up, feel the oneness, become empathic, these are like oil and water. They're not going to become soluble. I would suggest to give them a set of practice, physical practice, whether it's a asana, whether it's a breathing, whether it's a yoga philosophy, to feel more at home within themselves. And being at home means also to help them to acknowledge that maybe as an adult they have now more tools to deal with their traumas and sufferings. And maybe one day they can coexist with their pain and suffering. And maybe one day they will say, yeah, we have lived long enough. Maybe it's time to say adios. Please, I allow my suffering to let go.
So to coexist with your pain,
Yeah.
it is the condition, the first condition, not to run away from your pain. And then how can one let go, surrender to the life conditions? So we are always looking in another direction.
Mm-hmm.
So the shadow remains there.
Mm-hmm.
It takes some courage to look. So you are asking your students to be more in contact with the body.
Yeah.
So because I see here of course now we have many kind of body therapies in
Right.
the field of psychology. But for example, if we go to analytical psychology,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there is an emphasis on the body, or what is the role of the body, technically speaking, maybe.
I will not be able to really go into the depth to look at the body from the analytical psychology perspective, but I see as it is a more of a talk therapy going into the mind and the depth of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
If it is paired up with yoga, a bit of yoga postures, a bit of pranayama, a bit of reconnecting to the somatic dimension, they will help in a large extent what's going on within
The mind.
Within the mind.
Yes.
And they will be able to process it.
Mm-hmm.
With all this somatic experiencing and other kind of body therapy, these are quite new. But yoga has always been a body-mind therapy.
Mm-hmm.
In yoga, there is no body and mind. The subtle dimension of the body is the mind. The gross dimension of mind is the body. So anything that happens at the mental dimension will leave an imprint in the body. And if you can do anything with your body, that will impact the mind.
Okay.
And maybe it's the right time now to talk about. That's why in yogic approach to psychotherapy, I always will recommend to give a small practice of body relaxation. And there's a beautiful practice called yoga nidra.
Mm-hmm.
Now again, this practice can highly trigger deep-rooted emotions, traumas. So it has to be watered down based on the person to person, and that can help to kind of squeeze the bureta, the sponge, to take out everything that you have been stacking in your body without knowing it.
Okay. Yoga Nidra, few of us heard about it, I think. Can you tell something more in order to have a small taste of it?
So the science is okay. Let's start with the mythology. Yoga Nidra is the state in which the god is resting in after he has dissolved or dissoluted the creation. That is the mythology.
After the creation is dissoluted.
Yeah. So now everything is done. I have wrapped up everything and I'm resting in Yoga Nidra. And I think I need to go back to the pages a bit of the Indian mythology, maybe it's also applicable after he has created, he's still going back and resting in the state of Yoga Nidra. So classically, Yoga Nidra indicates a very deep state of restfulness where the mind is sharp and awake.
But if we go back to the first image, everything is dissoluted as creation. So it is no goal. There is no goal.
Yeah.
Everything is suspended. Everything maybe was lost.
Dissolved.
Okay. Yes.
So how we say, from one it became many, from many it merges to the dot.
Okay, so it's hard to imagine how does it looks a dissolved environment, because we are always keeping the environment.
Yeah. See the thing. Let's move ourselves to this reality that we are living in. If you continue to keep the ignition on in your car all the time, you never turn it off when you park your car, what happens to the gas? It drains. You're left with no energy. And then you look around, the coffee shops are blooming because you need one cup of coffee after another cup of coffee to stay functional. And that's disrespectful to the creator, right? There can be a way to experience sustainable quantitative rest. And Yoga Nidra steps in there. And I'm referring to the Yoga Nidra created by Swami Satyananda from Bihar School of Yoga. Because leaving the mythology aside, for thousands of years, Yoga Nidra was dissolved. There are some tantric practices from where the Yoga Nidra was brought back into the practice and made it in a simplified version so you and me can practice it. And that was done by Swami Satyananda in the late 50s, early 60s. It's a very systemic, scientific process. You rest your body, you connect with the sounds, then you return to the body, and you do the rotation of awareness. You mentally touch the different part of the body, and this is like detonating the cluster of energy stored in the different parts of the body.
Can we stay a little bit more here?
Yes,
so
please.
When you are pointing your attention towards, I don't know, your arms, what's happening there? So attention and energy. Can you speak a little?
Yeah, so wherever the attention goes, there the energy flows. This we know from the neuroscience. Within all of us, there are multiple such energy pockets where negative energies, unprocessed energies are stacking up.
So what is unprocessed as energy become negative?
Yeah.
Okay, there are pockets of energy.
Pockets of energy I'm referring as, let's say, a muscle gets contracted.
And stays contracted without our awareness.
Exactly. So, Yoga Nidra becomes a tool to decompress. You become aware of that body part and maintaining a certain amount of distinct awareness. You are a drashta, you are a witnesser of the process, you are not the doer there. You put the body to rest, and when you look at it and you bring the energy there, and there is a poke. And sometimes it's actually happening in the class where there are multiple people lying on the mat practicing Yoga Nidra, and you see sudden jerks in the body. So they release that somatic energy. Okay. And the outcome of it is, even by practicing 15 to 30 minutes of this guided relaxation technique, and I'm using the word guided relaxation because that's what the beginner level of Yoga Nidra aims at. It helps you to experience a state of relaxation which is equivalent to like multiple hours of sleep and restfulness.
Okay. I think we have something very important here. Attention.
Mhm.
And attention can change the movement of energy in our body. So when we have a pain, natural pain in our body, due to that pain, without willing, focusing
That becomes our focal point.
So this is a kind of natural healing. The pain, it's the signal in order to go back,
Yes.
to focus our attention.
Yeah. So you can look at two inverted triangles. So when in pain, we focus, and we converge our awareness to a dot where I'm experiencing the pain. And here, if you can hold your awareness for an extended duration of time or for a certain duration of time without trying to solve the pain, but witnessing the pain.
Witnessing the pain.
Coming back to the point I was saying, I am staying here with my pain.
Okay.
That will open the door of a transcendence, of a different dimension, and an aha moment is most likely to take place,
Okay.
where I start seeing a solution. So looking through the pain can take place in Yoga Nidra, and we use Yoga Nidra. I mean, I'm using Yoga Nidra in most of the therapeutic thing I'm doing for oncology, for back pain, even any amount of body-mind therapy.
So you may change the pockets of energy
But release.
to release it by attention. And then we may consider that we have also on a psychic level pockets of energy.
Right.
So we have to observe the
So if I'm really present, and now this is something that I would suggest to all the therapists, because they do one after another, they see their patients, to find time to reconnect with their body and maybe incorporate some yoga nidra to really return to their body and not to just stay on their head. So now the relationship with them has changed. With that altered state of relationship, how they will interact with their patient will be very different. I'm ready to listen your whole body, and I'm ready to listen with my whole body.
We have to stay a little bit on this too. Listening with your whole body. So when I'm listening to you and I'm paying attention to you, this means that my energy is there on you, what you represent for me. So you represent for me what? Perceptions, feelings, inner feelings, and body feelings, emotional feelings. So in fact, I'm listening to you, but I'm feeling you as my experience, body and mind experience. So this is maybe connected with transference and counter transference. And then as psychotherapists, we have, you said, that is very important to, in the breaks between the patients, to give us some space to feel what we are after a patient.
To decompress, what's happened to us, because every interaction is going to leave an imprint on you, not only at your psychic dimension, but at your body.
Okay, I don't know if it's possible to come with a small practice for psychotherapists in between patients. I don't know, this is my monkey mind now.
Yes, we can do this. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
The thing is, as I'm going to guide the person, and that's an imaginary person, so
Of
it
course.
might not fit every person who's listening or
Yes.
who's going to listen to
So
this.
we invite the viewer to know that this is a kind of general possibility.
It's a very generic.
Very generic,
Yeah,
but
these are the steps.
they may understand what you mean about some nidra yoga techniques.
Maybe we don't have the time to go for a yoga nidra thing,
Of course.
but just returning to the body, and it might take just under 2 to 3 minutes
Perfect.
practice. This can help them to, yeah, as I said, return to their body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, that's good. It's a good break for me to walk you through this practice. So if you're going to do this, and again, just make sure that you're not listening to this while you're driving and stuff, then just simply ignore this whole thing. And invite yourself to a comfortable posture. Keep your eyes open, and you can scan your territory a bit. You are, and we all are actually, in a constant communication with our ecosystem. A certain amount of energy exchange is always taking place. But as you explore your environment, check within your body. Do you feel safe? Do you feel safe to return to your body, to ask your senses, which are maybe extroverted, which are scanning your territory? For some of you, you might be very hypervigilant. Can you return to your body? And if you can return to your body, how does that make you feel? Invite your awareness to both the feet, touching the floor, the carpet, the earth underneath. You are not pressing your feet, both the foot to the floor. They're resting. Move your awareness up slowly. Feel the lower legs. Relax your ankle joint. Relax your knees, upper leg, and your hips. If you're seated, offer yourself a gentle reminder. Right now, this is where I belong. This is where is my home, and I am making an attempt to return to my home. If your back is resting, leaning on a chair, keep it that way. And draw your awareness along your whole spine, dropping the shoulders down. Feel if there are any contraction, muscular contraction in the back, and if you can use your mind to create certain amount of softness. Bring your awareness to your abdomen. Feel your belly. Let go of the tightness, contraction, if there is any. Feel the upward and the downward movement of your diaphragm. The expansion and the contraction of the rib cage. And once again check, how am I feeling within? Am I at home? You are listening to the other sounds coming through your ears. Are they inviting you to step out of your home, or you feel present within? Relax your right arm, the whole right arm, left arm, relax your facial muscles, and witness if you can hold a meta-awareness of your whole body from head to toe. I am present. I am present with my totality. If you wish, and if you have more time, you can allow your awareness to rest on your breath. Adhika, witness the inflow of your breathing and the outflow of your breath. If the mind wants to leave the body, can you request your mind with compassion, with kindness? Can you please stay within? And let's take 11 mindful breaths, and let's hold the awareness of the whole body while we breathe. If by any means this introspection, spending time with yourself, is triggering any troubling thoughts or feelings or emotion, take 3 deep breaths and you can open your eyes. If not, remind yourself that you can return to this practice every time you feel overwhelmed or you truly aspire for some me time. With the following exhalation, conclude the practice. Check how you feel right now. And in your own time, open your eyes.
Thank you. Quite special to allow the space in those conditions. We in television or in live broadcast, we need to be overstimulated in order not to change. And now this space of recovering our center, which is the opposite movement of overstimulation. Yes, so another quality of existence in the body due to your the guiding that you offered us. Yeah. I'm wondering how many psychotherapists will be able to really listen to the importance of this practice between patients. Of course, it's not important to do this one, but the principle of reconnecting. So, listening to the whole body. If a patient is coming and is so charged with lots of suffering and I cannot take it anymore, and so on and so on, for example, can you put in words how you may listen with your body this suffering person that I brought now a little bit?
First of all, I will avoid giving them this introspective meditation.
Okay.
It's not recommended. Because I'm in pain and you're inviting me without preparing to look into the pain more profoundly.
Overwhelmed.
You are just going to be overwhelmed and you will shut down.
Okay.
Rather, if the therapist, and now I'm going wild with my thinking, so it depends on the person to person. If you know such person, maybe a good opportunity will be to invite them for a walk and talk therapy. Invite them to a park, preferably not a children's park, and just take a walk. Maybe on the second day asking them, can we walk barefoot? Therapy is not always how wise advice I can give you as a therapist. It means I am energetically present with you. I'm walking shoulder to shoulder with you towards a evolutionary direction.
This is quite a metaphor, to walk in a park barefoot, connected. It can be also a metaphor to walk with the patient, with everything that he or she brings. Yes. So, imagining this troubled person, this angry person. So if you listen to it with your body will be affected. In what way? For example, the aggressivity.
Usually it will do some kind of contraction in the abdomen. If it is anger, it's a very fiery energy.
So in the abdomen, can you connect with the, I don't know, with chakras, or can be connected with?
Yes. Everything can be related. I mean, yoga has this lens through which we look at. Everything is energy. Boom. There's no more discussion around it. Happiness is energy, joy is an energy, depression is an energy. And energy has one thing, they have a source from where it is expanding and a source or a point where it is, converging to the point. So we need to understand how that mechanism is taking place. And the more I, as a therapist, am connected with myself, I will be able to connect with the person. Here empathy comes into play. It helps to build that initial bridge. I understand you are angry, not only through my cognition, but also with my body.
Yes.
Let's take a walk.
Okay.
Then I pull back. I unplug my empathy, because if empathy remains, I'm completely swallowed. Now we are same.
Okay. Withdrawing.
One minute.
Please.
And then I'm stepping out of my empathy, and here I'm holding a compassionate space, and now I know what could be the suggested medicament, and I am gonna act differently so you can mirror me, because the mirror neurons are activated. Imagine you come very angry to me, or I come very angry to you. You say, okay, Avi, sit down, and what happened? You have a smile on your face, you start breathing deeply. Well, I will burst for a while, but then the emotion of the pendulum thing will take place, and we will synchronize. And we will find a common ground.
Okay. Before stepping back and disconnected, you may feel this fire energy. And this fire energy will affect your energetical body.
Yes.
Okay. And if you cannot disconnect, and if you remain connected, this in time may generate some problems in your...
Absolutely.
So the question is...
We know plenty such people, I think.
Okay. Through, we may see in this profession different sickness, in fact. Bon, let's speak maybe about the art of stepping back. The art of stepping back, because you have to feel a little bit, but not too much. And then, even though you, for example, you are able to step back, your energetical body, even in this small amount, was affected.
Yes.
What you will do with it? So
that you have to decompress, and that's why yoga nidra comes into play.
Okay.
That's why breathing technique comes into play. That's why the therapy of a therapist is very important.
Okay, so you disconnect. This is a technique. This is a feeling. This is what being able to, the art of disconnection. I think is a key point.
Yes, there are multiple ways to do that. One of the simplest and 24/7 available tool is take 3 conscious breaths.
So simple. Yeah.
Take 3 conscious breaths, return to your body. My space, your space. Boundary issues. If we don't have that, well, we are pretty permeable being. We absorb each other. So one person should not be in a healing profession if they doesn't want to touch energetically the other person.
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
Not to touch. Yes.
Yeah. So we are jumping into the water, or let's say we are entering into the coal mine with a white shirt. We will have some marking on ourselves. But then this my space, your space helps you to disassociate. Then we need to also have, and here yoga supports you with a lot of philosophy. We didn't spoke anything about the karma yoga or the jnana yoga. These are the powerful branches of yoga. And I mean, at the end of the day, what is philosophy? Philosophy is more like that lubricates the journey as we slide through our life to reduce the friction. So here the invitation would be, can I hold a detached presence?
To hold a detached presence.
I am present with you, but I do know my space, your space. I respect the otherness in you.
Okay, boundaries.
Boundaries.
But this may touch the dimension of the ego in a way.
Yeah.
So being you means to feel what is not you, is the other one, the otherness. So, of course, you may be able to feel this difference and the boundary if you are enough advanced in your way of differentiating. But still, the ego matter is touched here.
Yeah, it is.
So without this boundary, the healing process cannot be done.
No.
So healing means to be with yourself within your created boundaries and to help the other one to interject the boundaries.
The idea will be, I am not carrying my patient.
Yes.
I'm not carrying my patient on my shoulder. I walk with them. You don't have to take that karmic burden on your shoulder. I'm not the savior. That's a big ego bloated thing.
Okay.
It happened to many gurus, many yoga teachers, many therapists. I am the one who is saving your life. No, we are the instrument. And every instrument has its limitation.
Okay, so they can be persons cannot be saved.
Absolutely. Sometimes all you need to do is you know it better than me, you have been for so many years in the therapy. You look at them, you smile, and you say, okay, I cannot help you, or you don't say that, I say, and you, with a folded hand, you pray for them. This is what Mother Teresa used to say, people you cannot help, you pray for them. And that's it. Who are we? We are not the incarnation of God that no matter with what problem you're walking into my cabinet and I'm going to solve your problem. No, that is a very bloated ego state.
Okay, so a good therapist means once then knows the limits of his profession and his powers, and in effect this means to surrender to another dimension.
Yeah. It's maybe it's a slightly out of context. So one of my teacher told me once a yoga student stop coming to your class, you should always consider them that they have graduated.
Okay.
So you don't entertain them, or you don't hold like, how can I get back that student into my class? They stopped coming. You look up. All the best to you. Carry on, my friend.
Okay. So this is kind of freedom, and this is not attaching and sustaining this movement of going, of living, of losing.
Yeah. See, the river of life has to flow. We have to flow. If we want to close down, we convert into a balta, and that we don't want to have.
Yes, the balta, which is in fact a very static water with some kind of bad smell.
Yeah. We don't want that to happen.
Yes, indeed. Yes, dear Avi, it's beautiful how we may see those connections, and we see that in fact we are living in the same world, even though we are different. Yes, so I invite all the viewers to come to your classes. You are on internet, so they may find you easily, in order to better realize the dimension of the yogic approach on healing in general. And then I think we may stop here.
Yes.
It is about limits, and maybe if I will kindly ask you before saying also thank you to all the viewers, and again to Bogdan Nicolai and Ionela Kirciu for their wonderful achievements to
and Katalin.
Yes, and Katalin to help us on this live broadcast. And please, you have the final words to the viewers, a thought or something that you feel useful.
Now I have to sound wise, right? The final word.
Yes. In fact, we have to sound wise, because otherwise, wise and otherwise, what will happen?
Well. Yeah. Well, I think whether you're a therapist and whether you're a student of psychology, Western psychology, you go through the process of learning, and you've been given a set of tools, a bag of tools, and this is what you can use.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it would be good to keep learning, because learning is a verb, it's not a noun, and you can incorporate some other tools that you can bring into your therapeutic setting. First, for your lifelong journey. So, you know how they say, once you're a teacher, you're always a student. So you keep on learning, and so that might be one of the things that you would like to adapt. So that will be my final word. Thank you. Thanks a ton for your time, for your energy to the online viewer. And I really don't have words to thank you for our interactions. I have always enjoyed talking to you, and I hope more will come in future.
I'm sure of that. So this is the remarkable. Once you are a teacher, you are always a student. And this is pure education. Thank you, Avisek Majumdar.
Thank you. Namaste.
Bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time. Thank you.